There you are.
Sorry. All right. Good afternoon, everybody. I am forecaster JD Rapp with you, USA forecaster. We are conducting this to Illinois Stormwatch, USA Severe Weather Network, especially YouTube today. Today is November 24th, 2020, and it's 2:08 p.m. And I got forecaster Isaac Schaff here today, USA forecaster Isaac Schaff with us today. We're tracking the potentially for some severe weather, so I'm gonna have you start for a little bit, Isaac.
Okay. So, yeah, we got JD screen up. So we have a couple of severe warnings to talk about over the eastern panhandle of Texas, parts of the panhandle of Oklahoma. You can see we have the velocity product shown there. We have a couple of supercells that are starting to evolve over that area. Obviously, we got a severe thunderstorm watch to talk about over much of Oklahoma, parts of the panhandle of Texas as well. And obviously, we're starting to get coupling with some of that stronger mid and upper level shear, more of that elevated mix level instability. That
report all right. I got one report to pass along. 1.75 inch of hail reported.
Okay, that's golf size. Yeah, the Storm Prediction Center has advised. I've been looking at some of the soundings earlier, and I'm definitely concerned about the potential as these storms do get going throughout the peak daytime heating over the next couple of hours will be critical with these storms, because we may produce obviously some of those saturated air parcels will give away some of those stronger updrafts. Yeah, just like what we're seeing there, that's the vertically integrated liquid product. Yeah, what I'm seeing there is a very strong updraft, a pretty healthy updraft. If maybe you could loop that, maybe it'll give us an idea of how the trends with that.
It's not letting me do it. It's got to update first.
Oh no, I'm talking about. Do you see that button on the second to top, like little file view site? Go to the left. You'll see that button with like 3 pieces of paper on it.
Yeah, I'm trying to see what I'm looking at, because this is in there.
Yeah, it's the far left. You were just mousing. Yeah, that one. Download recent data, and then now click on that back arrow.
Wow.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that is a very healthy updraft. It's strengthening. Obviously, we're starting to see some larger hail, and then that's kind of the basis of that severe warning right there. Definitely seeing that potential for fairly large hail, over quarter size. Obviously, we're seeing some strong updrafts, and we're probably going to see that potential for some stronger downdrafts with these storms as well, because we have that elevated mixed level layer instability, and obviously that colder air that's sinking out on the backside of those storms. Yeah, we can definitely see over. That looks like Canadian. Is that Canadian Oklahoma?
I think so. All right, Isaac, we just got a new severe thunderstorm warning in place. So this is just going to be an active afternoon, looks like.
Yeah,
a severe thunderstorm warning for Wheeler County in central Pelham. Is it Pelham, Texas?
I don't see the county names. You don't have them selected, but I do infer, just looking at that radar image, that we have some stronger updrafts, and then this along this line. There's definitely a good area of lift with that, and then some of those rotating mid-level some updrafts that are kind of cycling around the storms. Some rotating updrafts. Obviously, that's not rotation near the base of the storm.
All right.
Obviously, the surface-based sensibility, while it's modest, it's not. Obviously, the surface-based sensibility isn't that strong. So. And near that triple point and kind of that focus further north, closer to that surface low, that's where I believe the tornado risk is going to be the highest.
Yeah, so it's moving northeast at 40 miles per hour, so hazardous to the storm. $half size hail. So this is where you want to really get into potentially for maybe some updrafts, but so far we don't have a tornado warning, but I'm not going to completely rule it out, Isaac. Are you?
Yeah, obviously, I can't rule out the possibility of a couple of tornadoes I mean, the the surface to 1 kilometer helicity, I've looked at that. Obviously, it's higher further east, but along the surface low itself, we're going to start to see a little bit more convergence along that front, and a little bit more inflow, I think, up towards that area. And then obviously we have a good amount of low-level shear vertically, at least speed shear. I think in the way of directional shear, it's nothing that's too strong, but still we have the potential for at least 1 or 2 tornadoes, more localized. But I mean, if we do get some low-level updrafts, some low-level lift, obviously closer to that surface low, and along the dry line, of course, that just anywhere along this area, if we do get if any of that lift kind of is more surface based, that's going to be something we're going to have to watch out for.
Yes, we would.
So
far, I'm not getting any new reports coming in right now, but I'm still watching a couple other things here. Let's pull up wind velocity. What do you think about any of these new ones here?
I mean, that is storm relative velocity. So the product that you have selected, I mean, that gives us, zeroing out the storm motion. We have quite a bit of potential rotation or broad area of shear at the very least, just looking at that product. I mean, just along that line, just coupling some of that more elevated conditions. I mean, and then near the surface, that's another thing that I'd personally look at with that particular product, because kind of gate to gate and then coupling in with that storm motion, we have at least a broad area of shear. So like that's air that's mixing in on the backside, that's colder air that's sinking and interacting with those with that line. So I'd be pretty careful watching that for you folks in western Oklahoma. I mean that fairly active area of mid to near the base velocity, of course, that's or near the storm base. I'm gonna have to pay attention and look a little bit closer at that.
All right. Let's use a different way. Let's look at a couple of these cells, Isaac. You think these are going to rotate? You think these little dots here?
Well, that is probably near just north of the surface low, and obviously what you're showing there. I mean that is fairly weak low level shear that I'm seeing, but still I believe some of that influence along that short wave. It's a little bit more to the south. But I think that's pretty much along that same that triple point that we mentioned earlier. And as I believe the higher dew points are focused across the western part of Oklahoma. Not necessarily. I'm not looking too much at the Oklahoma Panhandle, where we're looking at the strongest tornado threat, because that's kind of the backside of the front. Yeah, I mean the supercells that are tracking through the panhandles of Texas into the western part of Oklahoma, that's where we're going to see some of those stronger updrafts. And I mean, if we do get surface-based lifting, then we have at least modest low-level shear present at the very moment. And I mean, so we got that air sinking in on the backside of those storms, so those stronger downdrafts, and just coupling in that low level shear with those stronger downdrafts. I mean, obviously we could see like potential micro downbursts. Who knows? I mean, the tornado threat is not exclusive to these supercells. I mean, this is peak daytime heating, and as storms push through the middle part of Oklahoma, I believe the wind threat's going to increase as well.
Yeah,
I mean,
we can see. I even checked a couple models. Looked online before we even went live earlier. There's going to be some gusts over 70 or maybe even 80. You think 80 is a little too much?
I don't necessarily think. Well, maybe near the base of the storm, along the jet, the jet streak, you're probably seeing gusts that high. But I mean, I mean, this is peak daytime heating. We're focused mostly on the updrafts or the upscale growth with these storms. So I mean, right now I believe hail is the main concern. Obviously, we have 1, maybe 2-inch hail with some of these. We've had reports of up to golf ball sized hail already across the Texas Panhandle, and we're going to have to see how these storms evolve. If we get stronger updrafts and if the echo top numbers kind of go down, I mean, that's
All right,
probably
here's some new markers coming up, Isaac. We got 2 new markers that are starting to pop in again.
Okay, I'm going to pop off for just a minute, JD. I will be right back.
Want me to cover?
Yes.
All right, I'm covering for Isaac just for a little bit until he gets back. So let's look at storms again. We still got severe thunderstorm warnings. We're continuing this afternoon, moving into a different area. So let me drill in a little closely. Look here. Severe thunderstorm warning goes into effect. All right, we'll see if this. All right, let's see if this works better now. All right, let's go here to radar, and we got the severe thunderstorm warning for Wheeler County and central Pelham, Texas, south central Hempel County in central Texas until 3 o'clock. At 2:10, a severe thunderstorm was located along a line extending from 9 miles east of Laura, moving east around 40 miles an hour. So hazardous, $half size hail. So you definitely are getting some pretty decent updrafts with these storms today. And we'll drill in a little more closely and pull up velocity. Just looks a little more in a way of 40 miles with some pretty decent sheared. But I'll pull up. I don't see any large hail at these. But yeah, up here by towards the laser area, they're showing me some signs of some very large hail. We can see storms. This one can produce hail the size of quarters. But yeah, very strong hail of the storm. Now we got one report of an estimate of hail up to 1 inch, up to an inch in an inch or 2 in deep. So this is a strong storm down here. Starting to get hail estimates up to 1 inch or 2. So this is really strong updraft. So you're any of these storms, I would be aware we're really getting some pretty strong thunderstorms out there. And these don't have. All right, Isaac, we just had one report came in here. I'll have to zoom that in here real quick so you can see that. It was one storm producing here up to 1 to 2 inch deep. What does that mean, Isaac?
Oh, let me zoom in. Okay, accumulating hail. So up to 1 inch or 2 deep. So that is kind of so like that's hail all over the ground. I mean, you can see along that downdraft that all that hail, that saturated air, that's really pushing up. It's sinking towards the ground. That's when you're seeing accumulating hail like that. That is really heavy hail that's battling down, and then it's covering. I mean, 1 inch or 2 deep, kind of like 1 inch or 2 of snow. I mean, commonly you do see situations like that over the plains because you have more convergence with some of that colder air that's
here's another marker.
In. Okay, looks like that is a strong indication of a little bit stronger shear near the base of the storm. More of that, a little bit of a situation there. I mean, just given those two. Given the contour that I'm seeing on there, but I mean, obviously nothing that is immediately surface based yet, but it still is a favorable situation. I mean, some of that air that's sinking in down there and then coupling in with that inflow or any kind of surface based heating of any parcels that are down there, even even with that coupling and that surface instability, that will probably lead to a spin-up tornado situation with some of these.
Yeah, and that's what we're kind of concerned. I've been trying to say all morning long, I'm not going to roll out a couple tornadoes. This is not going to be a tornado outbreak, but I won't roll out just like we went through the other night with some spin-ups. Will these be long track or just quick, weak tornadoes, you think?
I mean, these will probably be the quicker, probably, yeah, definitely a quicker tornado situation. Obviously, we're not seeing explosive amounts of low-level shear or anything like that. But over the course of the next several hours, definitely I am concerned about some of those stronger downdrafts after we get all this upscale growth during the peak daytime heating hours. And obviously, what I'm looking at here, the severe thunderstorm watch has mostly been issued due to the 2-inch hail threat. It's immediately based off of that, but still a threat for severe gusts. We're going to see potentially scattered damaging winds, probably some of the stronger winds from further aloft, about 70 miles per hour, could mix in.
So that's still, Isaac, enough to do damage. Knock power lines down, trees could come down, just like a couple of events we did with the first week in November, where we've seen trees coming down everywhere. So this is where we got to be aware and pay attention to what's going on.
Yeah, definitely. We'll
have a weather radio, have a crank weather radio, have your TV on, tune into us, and we'll keep you updated today.
Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and talk a little bit about, hold on one second. Mind if I override your screen share for just a minute?
Take your time, what you got to do.
Okay, yeah. So these are the surface dew points. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in a little bit into there. All right. So this is over the course of the afternoon, we can see that influence with that dry line just immediately west of where we're seeing these 60-degree dew points, and then even into the 50s dew points. So, I mean, the strongest low-level instability is depicted right down here. So, I mean, that is, more saturated or where more surface-based condensation lifting happens down around here, with a little bit more marginal conditions further up here. So, I mean, obviously we can see that colder air that's on the back end, and then this is the influence of that shortwave right there. And looks like I might, I'm going to go ahead and put this into motion a bit, and we can see as that shortwave really dips in, we're going to see that surface low track a little bit further north, and we can see that strong shortwave pushes into the Midwest as well. And I mean, probably the more active tornado ingredients will probably shift into areas such as the Ohio Valley for tomorrow as well. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. But we definitely have, I mean, probably the more limiting factor.
I got to all right, gotta have to pause again. We got a new storm just came in. This storm has a hazardous ping pong ball size hail with it now.
Okay, I'm not surprised. Looks like we got that stronger updraft. Obviously, that has been a very healthy updraft with that particular supercell as it continues to make its way into western Oklahoma and to the far southeast part of the Panhandle. Looks like, if I'm not mistaken, that is tracking towards Laverne and Buffalo and the May area. I mean, that's a pretty good rotating updraft. We got a little bit more elevated rotation with that. So, I mean, that's definitely a good sign. We got saturated air parcels that are wrapping around towards the storm top, and that is growing. So that means we have a stronger updraft. And then obviously that's a sign we got quite a bit of hail developing with that, and we've had reports of accumulating hail.
Yeah, we had several reports of that.
All that saturated air, so think about those surface dew points are probably in the 50s, but a little bit stronger further aloft. So, I mean, they're like that far north, probably a little bit north of the surface low, just given that upper level dynamics that we're seeing. I mean, there's probably a little bit stronger elevated dew points. So, I mean, more saturated air that's above the ground. And I mean, just given, how relatively moist it is in altitude. I mean, I'm not surprised. I mean, obviously, these are not surface-driven storms. A lot of this activity is more elevated. And as that tracks into western Oklahoma, I do advise that a lot of that hail threat's going to persist, and even after those updrafts, we're going to see sinking air, and probably that is going to be a situation where the largest hail, or maybe the more spread out and larger hail falls to the ground. I mean,
there's a new hail port here come in.
Penny size, okay, yes. Light accumulation, okay. So I mean, sometimes hail. I mean, one time we've had a little bit of hail accumulation up. Well, I mean, probably a lot of hail that fell to the ground. I mean, this is like all that saturated air that's being lifted, and
there's a new one getting ready to get.
Yeah, that cell is looking to be intensifying. Obviously, I mean, looks like the more healthy cells are forming further east, but I mean, we still got stronger elevated conditions along there. So I mean, overall, we're seeing that strong elevated instability. So probably we may see a couple of training areas of cells that may produce some of that hail. We'll have to see how that goes overall. And
just looking at some of these, these storms are just so far we haven't severe thunderstorm warnings, but I won't rule out possibility of an isolated tornado. We have to be sure everybody needs to have a way to have warnings today. Do not let your guard down and think this is going to be a skip and miss thing, because we could get a couple of tornadoes and we could get some maybe wind damage out of this.
Yeah, sure. And again, as storms push into Oklahoma, that's when we're probably going to see some of those stronger downdrafts. All right,
Isaac, rules quick on here. I mean, what to do and what they should have planned in case there's a warning tonight, like mobile homes and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, as storms continue to push into Oklahoma, maybe even more populated areas of Oklahoma, probably like Oklahoma City within the next couple of hours. I mean, probably the next 4 hours or so. I mean, that's going to be mostly when we're focusing on the wind threat with these, as they congeal into a more linear system, if I'm correct. Hold on. Excuse me there. But yeah, it looks like we're, as we lose some more of that elevated instability, I mean, we're probably going to still see some good mixed level instability, some large hail that could probably fall that far east. If I'm correct, that severe thunderstorm watch
looks like, guys, we got a new severe thunderstorm warning.
Yeah, it looks like that's tracking towards Kingsdown,
Kansas.
That cell there.
It's for quarter-size hail, though, so this storm still probably is an elevated storm, but it's probably producing some quarter-size hail with it. We'll see what.
Yeah.
Velocity back on it.
Yeah, that watch pretty much covers areas towards Oklahoma City, Ponca City, whatnot. That watch is in effect until 9 o'clock. So, I mean, that severe threat will definitely track towards Wichita and Oklahoma City along.
All right, we got two new markers trying to form again. We got a couple of markers are trying to form right over here. So we could be getting some more thunderstorms that's trying to rotate. So far we got that red marker again kind of popped up.
Sure. I mean, that's probably a little bit stronger instability than surface base or near the base, so base heating of that storm. I mean, a little bit of shear that's, I mean, obviously not couplet, but a broad area of shear, that cold air that's kind of sinking in on the back end. So, I mean, some stronger downdrafts for sure.
All right, we just got another report of hail right here from this. No golf ball size hail, Isaac.
Yeah.
So this hail has hail with damage to a vehicle right over here, Isaac.
Okay, golf ball hail with damage to a vehicle. That's either cosmetic, maybe towards a windshield, but I'm pretty sure a lot of folks out here Obviously, these are more rural parts of Oklahoma and Texas. So I will advise that
some of the safety rules for that
outside towards Oklahoma. But I mean, still, if you have hail damage or anything, obviously you can report it to the Weather Service. Also, maybe you want to make sure your insurance policy does cover if you get cosmetic damage to your vehicle.
And this is another time I'm gonna put this out the same minute too, Isaac. I want to say that if you have to, mobile homes tonight may not be safe, right, to be in with these type of winds. So you might want to decide to go to a friend's house or a family member's house with a basement. You think that'd be the best place they need to go to tonight? What do you think?
Well, I mean, with the gusts exceeding in some cases 60 to 70 miles per hour. I mean, obviously, you want to make sure your mobile home's properly anchored. I mean, obviously, any unanchored, like outbuildings, may experience damage in some.
Yeah, and I don't mean to pause, Isaac. We got another a purple marker trying to form right here.
Okay, yeah, purple marker. That's a more low-level based updraft. I mean, obviously, we'll see how that goes. I think the tornadic conditions are marginally favorable somewhere around there, but I mean, obviously we're mostly concerned about the updraft, the upscale development, not necessarily the downward forcing yet. That's kind of going to be a factor if we do see anything that does go tornado warned or not, but I don't think any tornado warning situation is imminent at this time. We'll just have to pay attention to these trends, how things do develop, but we're seeing more upscale growth.
All right. So finish up so like I said, this is a night where you probably still want to have a weather radio. Make sure you have multiple ways that you use warnings. Do not use a siren, right, Isaac?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of communities will probably activate outdoor sirens. It's just a method to get people to go indoors if there is a threat. But I mean, that's the situation will probably favor at least. I mean, the safest place to be in is at least a site-built structure.
Yeah. And we just want you away from windows tonight. This is not going to be like a derecho but this could be evolving into a wind threat where we could get into some damaging winds where you might want to be away from windows. Make sure you have flashlights in case you would lose power, right?
Yeah, sure. I mean, some areas could, especially rural areas, will probably see isolated power or communication outages. I mean, just as they will be more localized. I mean, obviously, these aren't consistent storms that will impact one area that will.
Isaac, because we went through, just like we went through last week, the first week in November was possibility a situation when we went through several power outages, didn't we?
Yeah, I mean, these were similar areas, obviously impacted by an ice storm. Some even primary population areas have been without power in some of those areas. But I mean, what I'm concerned about with these storms in particular are more localized disruptions to commerce, power, and communication, whatnot. But I mean, definitely you want to be careful if you are out and about and whatnot. And then if you are in a mobile home or in a non-site built structure, you want to pay attention, and especially if you're in an older manufactured home and older mobile home and whatnot that's not properly anchored to the ground. I mean, that's going to be something you want to be really careful with.
So right now, we're not been having no tornado warnings, just watching these storms, and I think that things are going to change in the next couple of hours. What is the sounding showing on anything?
I mean, mostly mid-level instability. Obviously, we're not seeing stronger low-level base lapse rates or anything like that. So, I mean, I think where that column of 60-degree dew points are located, I saw a couple soundings in there. I think over the course of the afternoon, that's going to be where more of the surface-based heating, lifting, all that tends to happen. And then, I mean, that's going to probably contribute to where the highest threat for at least isolated tornadoes will be located. But I think that's along that triple point. I think conditions are fairly marginal. We saw a critical development period of time.
Yeah, but like I said, you need to tell everybody we have seen worse events in November and what we've seen today.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we will pay attention to further developments, but I think this would be a good place for me to end for now, until we get some further developments. So
So what do you want me
we
to
will
do?
be
Just
back
watch the
on
radar?
for more follow-up updates, and stay tuned to USASWN.